And we're back trying to fix these 30 broken power tools that came on a salvage power tool pallet that I bought. Let's get to fixing. This video is sponsored by iFixit, more on them in a minute. Turns out I need to get a battery for the DeWalt tools because I'm not sure any of them include batteries, so I'm gonna wait on those and let's get to the Milwaukee items. And first, we have this narrow gauge crown stapler. It feels like there's something in here. So this is worth $300 brand new and still $180 used on eBay. And that's kind of mid-price. They went up to even over 200, some of them. So, okay. All right, so this looks to be in really nice condition. Let's put the battery in. And we've got this, I've never used one of these before. None of the buttons work. Oh, there we go. Had to turn it on. Okay. I don't have any staples for this thing though, so I need to get some staples for it, and then we can try it out. So let's move on to the next Milwaukee tool, and I'll grab some staples and we'll test this here in a minute. Item number 21 is this hex screwdriver kit. Oh, comes with a case. That's cool. But is everything in here, or is anything in here? Something is, it's heavy enough. Oh, okay. So we've got two batteries, we got the charger and the tool. So it looks like this has everything that it came with. Now these retail for about $100, but they still sell used for $65. So that's still pretty good. Definitely used. Let's just plug a battery in. I don't know, these probably aren't charged, but. I don't know, maybe that means the battery needs to be charged. I feel like that's probably what it means. It does work, at least. Let's try this battery. Same thing, so either the batteries are both dead or there's something wrong with the tool. It did work once, I mean, that clearly happened. Let's get these batteries charged up and then we'll test this again. So this definitely did start up once, and the battery indicator shows that it's fully charged, but just no power anymore. Okay, so we know it does work, but just not right now. Let's get this thing taken apart, see if we can figure out what's going on inside of it. Whoa, the label has been sliced, it looked like, unless it comes like that. Actually, it looks maybe has perforations maybe? So I don't know, I can't tell if somebody's been into this or not yet. It doesn't want to come apart, I know that much. Oh, that's because we have a little clip right here. There's a little tab right there. Looks like we need to bend it up and then we can get the tab out. I need to be able to push down while I push up on this thing. I only have so many hands. Okay, let's try this. Oh, almost got it. Perfect. Now, hopefully this will be, yeah, there we go. That just comes right apart now. Okay, and here we go. So what I'm hoping is there's just like a loose contact or something in here. Just looking for anything that looks suspicious, and I do not see anything. Let's check this. Let's see how much voltage we have on the battery when we press that button. $12 volts, and the motor's not spinning. Okay, so I mean, clearly we have something going on inside the motor. Okay, what is with that? So apparently there's some bad contacts inside this motor because it's working fine now. Okay, I wonder how hard this motor is to take apart. Let's find out. Okay, so what is it? Yeah, this just lifts off of here. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna desolder that wire and that wire. See if we can get this motor apart and take a look at the inside. This is the Fix Hub Power Series. It's a 100-watt smart soldering iron portable soldering station that makes soldering easy and accessible without compromising on power. Now with it plugged in, I just need to turn the iron on. There we go. And this tells you what the temperature of the iron is. The orange LED is telling me that the iron is up to temperature. So if we remove the cap, we can come over and melt some solder onto it. And there we go. Now I wanted to give this soldering iron just a little test. I have my fume extractor on. I'm going to see how well it melts the solder off of one of the larger devices on this board, the larger components, just this little capacitor. That actually melts it very quickly. So let's try this mounting point right here. And that melts through that right away as well. And now that I've stopped using it and set the iron down, it is flashing purple, which means the iron is cooling down. Be sure to order your Today the soldering iron, and the soldering station orders will start shipping on October 15. If you want to order the soldering toolkit, that's going to be shipped by January 2025. I'm going to put a link in the description that'll take you right to the order page. There we go. Nice and warm. Let's bend this back and come on. Pull it through. There we go. All right. Okay. Never taken motors like this apart before, but we've just got these pins right here, and I think they just pull out like that and like that. Will that come off? Totally will. Okay, so there's a little planetary gear set inside there. Now I do have this marked so we can put it together approximately the same way that we took it apart, hopefully. Okay, and there we go. And now we can see the inside of the motor. So this is what I'm thinking. Rather than take this motor apart, I think, especially because we know there's just some contacts that are gummed up in here, I think if we use some BW100 and clean up these contacts inside here, I think this motor is going to work just fine. So what I'm going to do, spray this down in here, spray it on these contacts in the back especially, and then it'll go down through the rest of the motor too. And we can also spray it down here just in case there's any issues in there. So looking at this motor a little bit more, you can see down here where this is kind of extremely gummed up. But if we spin it even more, that one I've kind of like scraped on a little bit. If we spin it more, you see these ones, there's even more there. And look at this. That is really gummed up. So I'm thinking what's happening is this brush right here, when it rests right on this, it doesn't make a good enough connection to start the drill up. So what I'm thinking happens is, actually, let me see. Yeah, that whatever that gunk is on the brush right there is pretty, I don't know, maybe that's what's creating all this black stuff. I'm not sure. I don't know what that is. Maybe some water got in this or something. I'm gonna try and scrape that off and then see if we can get some BW100 in here after that. Also, I'm gonna scrape this off a little bit too. There's probably a much better way to do this, but unfortunately these motors are just super hard, at least for me, to get into, because they have these little tabs. These little tabs are very strong, and I don't know of anything that I can get under here that won't, like, I could use this pick, but it's just going to bend the tool. These are too strong for that. So I'm not sure. There's probably some sort of tool that works for that. I don't know what it is though, so I'm going to do my best to clean up these brushes and the shaft down in here and see if that's enough to get this thing working. Now let's try with some BW100. Yeah, that actually washes it away pretty nicely. So I'm going to do some more cleaning on this shaft and the brushes and see if we can get this thing cleaned up a little bit more. And then we'll get it all back together and see if that worked. All right, and that, I mean, that's not the right way to do the job for sure. But honestly, it does look a lot better. I did my best to clean off the shaft and then also clean off those brushes. And I don't know, I mean, it definitely could be better. And the best way to do it would be to take the thing apart and you know, use very fine grit sandpaper and stuff like that, but I think under the circumstances, this is as good as we're gonna get. So I'm gonna try this out. We're gonna put it back together and see if it works. All right, last screw. Is that screw tight? Yep, that screw's tight. And then this little guy goes right there. We go. All right, now let's put a battery in. There we go. And here we go. Is it gonna work? Of course it's gonna work. Yep. Starts up first time every time. So this Milwaukee electric screwdriver is all working. Let's move on to the next one. So I picked up some staples for this. Let's get the battery in and see what this thing does. Power on, still gets power. See right there, good. That's a strange noise. Oh, okay, it does work, or it did work once. It doesn't put that staple too far in. Well, I don't know, maybe it does. I don't know how far these staples are supposed to go in. It actually goes in decently far. I don't know why it does that buzzing noise at first, though. Is there any way that's normal? Does that every time. The first time I press the button, it'll do the buzzing noise. The second time, it'll actually put the staple in. I can't imagine that's normal, so I guess we need to take it apart. Now, before I take this one apart, I did notice as I was looking through the other Milwaukee tools that there's two more exactly like it. So this one has something rolling around inside. So I want to take this one apart first. This other one, I'm not sure what's going on with this, but this says not for sale right up here on this label. So I'm wondering if this is like a store model or something. I'm not really sure what's going on with this one, but I mean, we'll still test it, but this one, maybe this one never worked in the first place. Either way, let's get this one taken apart and see what's going on with that rattling noise. And with all the screws loose, this cover should just pop off, and it does. What is rolling around? Oh, we got a spring down here. So a spring, that spring just go over here? I feel like it could. Is there something else down there? Yeah, there is. Gotta get to it though. So I gotta look and see what I need to take to get this section out. Okay, I think if I take this piece off and maybe that screw out there, I can get down there. Okay, and with that screw out, I've made quite a bit of room down here. There we go. I have no clue where these parts go, but we did get them out. And those are the only parts rattling around in here, I think. So now we just got to figure out where they go. So what I'm thinking is, since we have to take this one apart anyway, let's take it apart now and see where these parts are inside of this one, and that'll tell us where they go inside this one. You know, hopefully. All right, and all the screws are out of this one, I think. Oh, yep, there we go. Okay. And it looks like there's a little mechanism back there. That's where those pieces go. And that spring does go on the trigger, which is what I thought. So in order to really look at this, we need to get this assembly out. So I need to take that screw off. Oh yeah, there we go. Okay, so that's the assembly that we need. And there's a little, yep, a little pin right there. Are we missing a piece? No, we're not. The other piece is in there. Not a pin. There's a little lock ring right here that holds that all on there. I wonder if that's inside this other one somewhere. But that is what we need to figure out. So this is another piece that we need, and I found it down inside this machine. So right here, there's a little groove for that snap ring. And I just remembered this one is the one that says not for sale. That's maybe the store model, but I wonder if they have, I wonder if it has that piece inside of it. I might be able to find this in some sort of like, you know, an assortment or something, but also I might not be able to find that. So I'm thinking, let's take this one apart too, you know, so we have as many of these apart on my workbench as possible. Let's take this one apart too, see if there's any chance of getting it working, and if not, we'll steal that part from this one. And just for reference, when we try to turn this one on, just nothing happens, no power at all. That's why I'm wondering if this is like a store model or something. And with all the screws out of this third one, let's see what it looks like on the inside. Yeah, this is just a store model or something. All the wires aren't even soldered on. There's not a board down here. There's no wires up to the motor. But does it have a part, the parts we need up here? Ah, I think I see them. So, I mean, that's a bummer that this one we won't be able to get working, but also we can steal parts off of it and hopefully get this other one working. Let's see if we can actually do that. Yeah, I think it's got what we need. There we go. So we need that snap ring right there. I'll get my snap ring pliers and let's see if we can remove it. Okay, here we go. Snap ring pliers. This is gonna be hard. I think we can do it though. There we go. Got them. Okay, now I'm actually gonna leave this just like this so we can use this as a model to put the other one together. Let's pull this all the way out. There we go. That is also interesting. So probably somebody, I mean, they must have stolen this or found this somewhere and returned it for a working one instead of getting the store display one. Okay, this is the one we need to rebuild that system in. So this spring goes on this shaft like this. This shaft goes down here like that. I don't think there's an up and or down for that. Okay, then this guy goes up here like this. Oh, caught up in the wires. Like that. And then this guy goes down here and up on, come on, like that. Now we need to put the snap ring back on there. Okay, there we go. Stay. I think it's gonna stay, mostly, maybe. Here we go, with the snap ring. Can I get it down around there? I think I actually bent the snap ring bigger, so we need to bend it smaller. Okay, let's try that. Yeah, there we go. Okay. All right. Gonna put these in my snap ring pliers and not push them out so big this time. I didn't realize it would bend that easily. All right, here we go. And there we go. All right. Easy enough. Okay, that one hopefully is fixed. Let's get it back together and see if it works now. Okay, screws are in, battery's in. Does it power on? It does power on. It already has some staples in it. Let's see what happens. Oh, heck yeah. That's amazing. So we got the first stapler fixed. This is worth $180, so that's definitely worth the fix. Let's see if we can fix this other one. So just looking at this, I don't see anything obvious that's wrong with this thing. Everything looks pretty much pristine. So I'm thinking what's going on is this cylinder is probably not charged with air the way it needed to be, or the way it needs to be. And so I think what I'm gonna do is let any air out of this by removing this bolt and depressing the valve inside there. That should let the air out. Then I can remove this cylinder, clean it all up, put it all back in, and then charge the cylinder with compressed air. But unfortunately, I need a special fitting that I don't have yet, so I'm gonna save this for later. Let's get to the one last Milwaukee tool. Tool number 24, and the last Milwaukee tool is this 3/8 inch ratchet kit. It feels pretty light. I'm not convinced there's a ratchet in here. We have a hunk of metal, and that's it. There's literally nothing else in the box. What? So we have the user's manual and a hunk of metal. So somebody returned this with a hunk of metal just trying to show that it's about the same weight as this ratchet. And unfortunately, it looks like they got away with it. So that's all the Milwaukee tools. Now let's move on to the DeWalt tools. So to start out with the DeWalt tools, we've got 4 of these. Now, this one's pretty heavy. The other one's not so much. So I think, I don't know, I feel like most of these probably aren't gonna have any tools in them, or I don't know, this one's heavy. This one, maybe another return scam. I don't know. Let's get it opened up and see what's inside. The chances of all these tools being in here, I feel like, are just not great. It's a bummer too, because these are $400 new, and even used, they go for $300. So these would be really good. Okay, it comes in this tool bag. Yeah, that's exactly what I thought. Look at this. Yeah, this is frustrating. This is obviously what happens with a lot of returns. You get stuff like this, people just return it, and the manufacturers and retailers just let them do it, apparently. Okay, so this is number 25. Let's move on to number 26. Hopefully we'll get some good tools out of this, but I'm not really sure we will. All right, this one is much lighter. There's gotta be like basically nothing in. Yeah, I mean, this might be worth something, assuming it works, which I doubt it does, because why would they be returning it if it worked? But I think it is, I mean, it's at least good enough to test and see. Also, this might be a good one for Robert over at Restores to take a look at and see if he can clean this thing up. But yeah, all right, might as well take a look and see if it will work. But yep, another return scam. We'll check this out in a little bit. This one is a little heavier, but not super heavy like the first one. So, I mean, I'd even settle for some of the tools being in it at some point. But, oh, here we go. Okay. That looks brand new. This looks pretty new. A little chewed up on the top, but that definitely could be a new one. We got a battery charger, and that's okay. Well, that's something at least. At least we got 2 new tools out of this one. So we'll test these in a minute when we test this other one. Let's look at the last one of these big boxes. And tool number 28 has the carrying case, and it's pretty light. And it has probably, another very used tool and another return scam. But even though it's really used, I'm still gonna look at it here in a minute when we test these other tools. You never know, if it's an easy fix, we might be able to get some money out of this at least. Well, these were a complete disappointment. If it wasn't for return scams on these, we would be looking really good on them. But as it is, I don't know, it's not looking so great on the DeWalt tools. We do have 2 more DeWalt tools to look at, so let's look at those next. So tool number 29 is this rotary hammer drill. This thing costs $329 new and is still worth $229 used, or $220-ish used. So this is what we got. And it actually looks like it's in good condition. I really hope this one is in good condition and we can get it working. That'd be $220 that we could get for it most likely. So that's pretty amazing. We'll test this in a minute. Let's look at the last tool and then we'll start testing these DeWalt tools. And tool number 30, this is a reciprocating saw and it retails for $149. Brand new and $100 used on eBay. Let's see what it looks like. Wow, this has definitely been used. Oh boy, that's not good. What, do they use this in wet concrete? Holy cow. There's just, I don't know what this is, but it's coming out of the inside of the motor. So boy, I don't know about this one. We'll give it a test here in a minute. I think we need to take this one apart first and give it a good cleaning just to get all the stuff out of the inside. So let's do that first, and then we'll get to testing and fixing these other DeWalt tools. All right, we got all the screws out. Let's see how bad this thing looks inside. Oh my goodness. This thing's like been submerged or something. Does this motor, the motor doesn't really want to spin. Oh boy, look at that. I think this thing was submerged in something, because that's just crazy looking inside there. All right, let's get this out and have a look at this gearbox. See if we can figure anything out. Oh, wow, look at that. Oh, this thing is just, yeah. Unfortunately, this one is just too far gone. We'd have to replace the gearbox, probably have to replace the motor. Just replacing the gearbox is going to make this not worth fixing for monetary reasons anyway. I'm not saying it wouldn't be worth it if you just had parts laying around, but yeah, this is just, it's too rusted inside. Bummer. All right, well, there's going to be zero value on this. In fact, I don't even think there's any good parts in this one, so this one's just going to be a total loss. So let's move on to the next tool. Next, I want to test these two tools. These ones were in one of the boxes, and they look brand new, but I don't know if they are. So each of these is worth about 50 bucks used, so that's going to be really good news if they work. Oh, yeah. Yep, this works great. So that one's 50 bucks right there. Now let's try this one. Yeah. Don't see any problems with that, so there's another 50 bucks. All right, that's great news. Now we've got two tools that I think were part of return scams. Let's check these and see if they happen to work. Okay, here we go. Whoa. That actually works pretty good. I don't see any problem with that one. I mean, obviously, I need to test this a little bit more extensively, but battery kind of gets hung up here, but okay, I think that one's probably good. Check this one. Whoa. The lights are like kind of dim. Oh, actually the lights are fine. It's just, they look dim because there's like these little inserts that are yellow. Definitely has like basically no power though. So let's take this one apart and see what's going on inside. Also, this one is worth about 40 bucks used, especially if we clean it up. I think this one could actually bring in probably about 40 bucks. This one's worth 50, but obviously it has very little power. So we got to see if we can fix this one. If we can fix these both, we're going to come out okay, even though those boxes had these in them instead of what was supposed to be in them. So now let's get this apart and see if we can fix this one. Okay, I actually just noticed this one's got multiple speeds down here. So we got speed one. Whoa, that actually, what? That's significantly better than it was. Speed 2. They all seem the same. Okay, so We know this one does have more power, but now the speed lever is basically doing nothing. So I'm still gonna take it apart so we can have a look at that, see if we can figure out what's going on inside this thing. I think if we can fix that though, this actually might work okay. Okay, all the screws are out. Just gotta pry this thing apart. There we go, all right. Yeah, that's really dirty. So I feel like maybe this lever is just dirty here. That is just crazy. Let's see what kind of board we have on here. See if we can figure out what's going on with this. Oh yeah, we got some really dirty contacts in there. You can see just down in there, it's like very dirty. I'm gonna scrape out most of this. And then use some BW100 contact cleaner. We'll see if we can clean this switch out. What I'm wondering though, this is pretty dirty inside. This would be a really good one for Restorish Rob to take a look at over on the Restorish channel and clean this thing all up. So I think what I'm gonna do is get it working and then see if he wants to take a look at it for that channel. This could be a really cool one for that. There's still gunk in there. I'm gonna try and get a cotton swab down in there. There we go. Got to get more of this gunk out of here. Yeah, that's feeling better already. I'm going to clean it up a little bit more and then we'll put it back together enough to test it and see if that fixed it. So we've got speed 1. Good. Speed 2. Faster. Speed 3. Oh yeah. So this one's fully working. The inside is obviously still dirty, so I'm gonna see if I can convince Restorish Rob to take a look at this and see how clean he can get it. If I do that, I'll definitely put a link to it at the end of this video so you can go over there and check it out. For now, let's move on to this beast. If we can fix this one, I think we make like $220. So let's get the battery installed and see what's going on with it. So here we go. I've got a big old battery to test this with. There we go. And let's see what happens. Oh, is that what it does for everything? Yeah, there are like little puffs of smoke coming out here. Puffs of something. Yeah, okay. So this definitely doesn't work. And I don't know if that's smoke or dust, but something's coming out of the motor area. Let's get this thing taken apart and see if we can fix it. And once again, another power tool with screws that are all the same size. I'm loving these. Makes it so much easier. Okay, so now all the screws are out. I don't know if that screw needs to come out. Hopefully not. Oh, here we go. It's coming apart already. Great. Everything in here is crunchy, as in, I feel like this thing's got a lot of like, I don't know, maybe like gravel dust or something in it. Oh, there we go. I don't know what I just did, but there's some things that dropped out of there. I'm not sure what that thing's for. All right, so what I can see is there's a lot of dust in this thing here. Just dust everywhere. Look at that. So what do we need to do to get this thing apart the rest of the way? So we've got it apart this far. And this whole thing can't come out because this is holding it in. I'm not sure how this comes off though. Yeah, there we go. Okay, that comes off. Now, yep, then this comes out. Oh, this pries up. Okay, there's that. All right, as far as I can tell, we just need to pry this up and over. And then hopefully, yep, there we go. That's annoying. I hate prying on stuff like that, but we got it apart. Okay, next thing we need to do is take all these little screws off on the other side. There we go. And take a look at the inside of this whole thing. Does this all come off as one piece? It looks like maybe it does, although the motor should come off separately, I believe. I'm gonna take this one off and see if that motor will pull out. Okay, all the screws are out. I think I'm very nervous right now. No idea what I'm gonna find under here. Okay, it's all coming off though. And, oh, what do we, no, that's normal. We got a whole entire gearbox in here. Wow, that's actually really cool. So, I need to be careful not to mess any of this up. Oh, now the cover for the motor comes off. Okay. Okay, so let's see if we can take the motor off now. Okay, and those two, yep. There we go. Okay. The motor also does definitely spin, but it certainly doesn't want to on its own. So I'm going to carefully move this off to the side. Very carefully. And this is ridiculous. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get this thing back together, honestly. I hope I can, but I don't know. Okay, so first, I'm gonna try and protect that gearbox there while I clean this thing up. I'm gonna use some BW100 contact cleaner. Clean this all up inside. And same down in here. Okay, that's getting pretty clean inside. I'm going to double check, make sure all of these little switches, I'm going to clean those up too before we get this thing all the way back together. But I think this motor is in good shape now. I think it's time to just start putting this thing back together. So this is the spring that I couldn't figure out. So I think this goes right down here like that. I don't know what the point of this is, but I think that's where it goes. It's kind of a stiff spring too, but let's see if we can get it. Need a little help over here. Come on. Almost there. Oh, there we go. Got it. Okay, I don't know what the point of that is. Maybe just to help dampen the back and forth, because we got a spring up here as well, so that must be what that's for. Okay, I wanted to put this battery in just enough to test this thing to see if we did any good. So let's see, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Oh, wait a second. So that feels like maybe a switch issue, because we got power from here to there. So it's only when I push the power button all the way in that it does that. We can go up to like half speed with no problems. So let's see if we can clean this power button out. Maybe it's just a power button issue. Okay, so power button, we can take that off. Can we get to the power button though? That's the next question. I see some little clamps right here. Boy, I don't know. It's pretty warm in here too. Okay. So this whole kind of power board right here is all just has a bunch of epoxy everywhere. So if it's not cleaning the power button, it might have to be a new power button. I'm pretty sure it is a power button issue though, just because we have power until about right there. So could be dirty. There could be something else going on in here, but so we got some tabs here we can pry off of. We need to get this guy off first. This little zip tie. There we go. I'm going to take a picture or two of how all these wires are on this. There we go. So getting any of this off Like this is just full of this white epoxy. I'm not sure we're gonna be able to get any of that off. Let's look up and see if we can even get this part. So the motor and switch come as an assembly and they cost like 160 bucks most places. I did find this used one for 90. So I feel like this might be what we have to do. That would still barely make it worth fixing as far as financially, but let's see if we can clean this one. I'm gonna use some BW100 and just spray it all over in the switch and just see if it's something inside the mechanical switch itself. And then if it's not, we'll have to buy another one and install that one. I really hope this works. I feel like there's a good chance it's not going to, but at this point, it's gonna be worth it for us if we can get it working. I don't think we'll be able to, but we might as well try. All right, and after all that cleaning, I mean, I can get it to go, sort of, but still got a problem. So I'm gonna go ahead and buy that motor and switch assembly for 90 bucks. That'll make it so we're at about $320, which is a little bit more than we need to break even on this DeWalt set of tools. And with that, we're all done going through all of these tools. We're just waiting for parts now. As soon as I get parts in, we'll come back and start doing the repairs that need to be done. So parts came in the mail for this thing, and I have the fitting I need. I've removed the plug. That's what that looks like. And now I'm going to screw in the fitting that will allow us to put air in this tank. So here we go, just like this. It doesn't need to be like super sealed up because we're just gonna put air in real quick, so shouldn't be too bad. I am gonna tighten it up just a little bit. I also decided I'm not gonna take this thing apart. It looks basically brand new inside, so I can't imagine this seal inside this air tank is faulty, so I'm just gonna get the air put in. Now, the other thing we need to do is make sure the piston inside here is out this way so we can get all the air in that it needs. So I'm gonna get that done and then we'll get the air put in. And I'm gonna tighten this just a little bit. There we go. Doesn't need to be super tight, but make sure that a ton of air doesn't leak out there. All right, so we need to spin this motor around to trigger that pin back there, and that will enable me to move this shaft all the way out, I think. I need to keep this thing up out of here. So let's do that like this. There we go. All right, now that can go out here. Now we've got this guy moved out of the way of this shaft. I did forget that I do need to let the air out of this though. Okay, so the air's out, at least for now. Now we need to see if we can get this shaft to move. Now I ended up taking the front of this off so I could get to the firing pin directly, and I have it pulled all the way out. Once that's out, you can just kind of grab it and pull it out. So it's pulled all the way forward, so we should be ready to put air in this thing now. So I'm just going to put this fitting back in, just tighten it up, not like a lot, but just enough there's not gonna be major air leaks. Then we're gonna see if we can get some air in this thing. All right, got an air hose, about 120 PSI. Here we go. Okay, I think that should do it. Now these don't take a ton of air, it just takes that little bit, so that should be it. Let's put it together and see if it works now. Now there is a valve up inside this tank, so I don't have to worry about letting any air out or anything when I take this valve out. And then we'll put this plug back in. It's got that seal on there, which is nice, so that seal looks good, so there shouldn't be any air leaking out of there. All right, now I need to put this back together. Since I took that apart, shouldn't be too big of a deal. All right, back together enough to test. Oh, heck yeah. So that obviously doesn't quite go all the way in, but unfortunately that's as much pressure as my air compressor will put out. I've just got a small one. So we know what's wrong. I can't totally fix it right now, but I'm still gonna call this one fixed because as soon as I can get to a bigger air compressor, we just need to put more air in that cylinder and we're good to go. Well, let's move on to the next tool. And this is the vacuum. And all we needed was this dustbin seal. So I did buy one on eBay And by the looks of it, I think this is 3D printed, which, I mean, it's not super amazing, but also, if it works, it works. So let's see if it does work. Okay. And does that work? Yes, it does. Okay. That's easy enough. And then, yep, opens fine. So there we go. So the dustbin's all fixed up on this. This vacuum is $150 used, so that's an amazing fix. Let's move on to one more. We've got the leaf blower, and we do have the fan that just came in. So let's see if we can get this fan replaced and make some more money. So this needs to go right down in there. So I'm assuming we just have to take this entire thing apart to get down there. So let's get these screws out. See if we can get this one fixed. It's going to be amazing if we can fix this one too. Okay, that's all coming apart so far. Seems like there's something else. I don't think there's anything holding that on. Oh, does this come out separately? There's something holding this on right there. I'm going to try removing these screws and see if this pulls out separately from the other piece. Okay, does that, oh, whoa, that totally comes out. Okay, that's awesome. That was easy enough. Oh, we got a broken piece right here though. That's no good. Yeah, that's a big bummer. I'm not even sure we need to take this part off. So I'm going to screw these screws back down and remove these screws to get this piece off and see what it takes to get this fan replaced. All right, and with those screws removed, yeah, this just comes right out. Then the question is, how does this fan attach? And feeling with my dental pig, there's definitely threads in there. So this threads onto the shaft. And looking at the blades on this fan, the motor is going to turn it this way. So if we turn the fan that way, we got it. That was, I feel like, maybe a little bit too easy. Okay, old fan, new fan. Part looks good. That looks really good. Honestly, I can't believe it was that easy. Let's put this thing back together and see how it works. Now, obviously this piece is broken. So I think for this one, I think probably taking like 20 bucks off the price, the used price of $80. Let's turn it, let's say we can probably make 60 because obviously this one is in kind of rough shape, but assuming this thing works when we turn it on, it still works good. So I think it definitely is worth something because of that, but probably not the normal price. So let's get a battery in this and see how it sounds. All right, here we go. Battery in, and heck yeah, that sounds perfect. Blows a ton of air. And this one, let's just put this one for 50 bucks. I think it's probably worth that, even though it definitely is beat up. Just given that used ones go for 80 in decent condition, this one's in okay condition. So we'll put this one for 50. And that was the last Ryobi tool. Let's see how much money we made on the Ryobi tools. So when we look at all the Ryobi tools, each of these we need to make $50 on in order to make any sort of profit. So we need at least $700. And when we add up all of the prices that we'll likely get on eBay, we get 705. So with Ryobi, we might make about $5. So here we are so far with the numbers. The pallet cost $900, shipping was $600, so we paid a total of about $1,500. Ryobi tools made us $500, Milwaukee made us $440, Ridgid made us $145, and we're not sure what DeWalt's gonna bring us yet, but so far, we're at $1,290. Are the DeWalt tools gonna push us over the edge? That's what we're gonna find out next. Let's see if we can fix this rotary drill. So the part has finally come in, but I wanted to look at this trigger mechanism a little bit more. I was able to take this cover off of just where the button goes, the power button, the trigger, and I wanted to take a look down here, and I don't see any problems with any of this. So that tells me even more that there's likely some sort of problem down in here, but this epoxy is basically impossible to get off without causing a problem, without breaking something. And so the only way to replace this is to buy the entire assembly. I was hoping it was just a problem maybe on these contacts or something, but this all looks really good. But now that we do have this entire assembly, let's get it installed into the hammer drill and see if that'll fix it. I really wish there was a way to buy, you know, just like this piece if you need it, or just this piece, or just this piece, but unfortunately, it just comes as a whole assembly, and that's just the only way to buy these. So we just have to work with what we have. Okay, and with all the screws out, we can remove this top cover again, and then we can get the motor out, hopefully. That cover comes off like that, and then the motor hopefully will just slide out. Yep, there we go. So that goes like that. Now we'll slide the new motor right in here, just like this, hopefully. Is that going? Yeah, there we go. And then this just goes right on top of here. And then we can put this cover back on. There we go. Now we need to put this part together. To do that, we need to put this guy on first. There we go. And then this is going to go right down here. Now this needs to go over here like that. These wires need to go down here. This guy needs to go right in here. And then these need to slide in down here. There we go, just like that. That's looking pretty good. Now we need to get, there's a spring that goes right down here we need to get in there. And then we need to get this back on. I'm not going to show that on camera since I've already showed that. And then we should be getting pretty close to put this top cover on and see if it works. Almost time to test this thing. I really hope this works. I'm going to be pretty bummed out if this doesn't work after all that. Okay, all the screws are in. Let's install the battery. This teeny tiny battery looks ridiculous on this, but it should be enough to test it. Okay, you think it's gonna work? Here we go. Of course it's gonna work. Yep, that works. That works, okay. Everything works fine. So this DeWalt hammer drill is all fixed. We did have to spend $90 or so to get it fixed, but I think we should make some money on it. Let's take a look at the numbers. So originally we would have been able to sell it for around $220 used. We did have to spend $90 on parts, but it does work. So we should be able to sell it for around $130, which means all of our DeWalt tools should bring in about $320. So we should be able to sell all the DeWalt tools for about $320. So previously we were at $1,290. With the DeWalt tools added, that'll bring us up to $1,610. It is interesting to see the different amounts of money we can make from the different brands. Ryobi, we definitely will do better, but that's mostly just because there are so many of them. Now we did have to spend about $1,500 between all the tools and the shipping. So that brings us to a total of $110 approximately in profit. Was that worth the hours and hours I spent on all of this? Probably not just for the tools, but hopefully these will make good videos and you guys will enjoy watching them, so that should bring in a little more profit. If you want to see the video where RestoraShrob deep cleaned those two power tools that I gave him, I'll put a link for that video up on your screen now so you can go hang out with RestoraShrob and see how they look when he's done. Thanks again to iFixit for sponsoring this video. Thanks so much for watching today, and I hope you have a good one.